Hi VC, it's Aaron, Mitha Elmer. Today I'm going to show my top 10 records I've listened to in my lifetime, which is actually going to be 20 because these 9 here are the next in line, not in any particular order. And I have one that I just kind of doubled up on because there's a certain reason. I'll explain that when I get to it. But these are the 10 albums I've listened to the most in my life. And this is very hard to do. It took me a few weeks to actually think about it and come up with these 10 records because they're not necessarily my 10 favorite records. They're just the 10 that for some reason I've listened to the most over the course of my life, whether it be on vinyl or on 8-track or cassette or CD. So, you know, it's a great thing, a thread that somebody started. I don't even know who started this thread, or I would give them credit. So I might actually find that and do it in the comments. But I have no idea who started this, but it's a great idea. But first off, I would like to say on Thursday night over on Jeff Witcher's channel, Jeff Witcher, myself, Chris Profi, and hopefully Gary from Physical Format Rock and Roll, maybe Brandon, are going to do a video together. We haven't done one in maybe a half a year as the Horsemen, what people used to call us. And there should be at least 3 of us, at least me, Jeff, and Chris will be on there. Hopefully Gary and maybe Brandon will be on there. I know Josh can't make it, but that would be cool if he did. But we haven't done that for a long time, so everyone check that out Thursday. I don't think it's going to be a live stream. We're just going to do a video. The topic will be our 10 essential albums from the 80s. So we'll all pick 10 records from the 80s and kind of discuss that. Should be pretty fun. So, okay, next up, now I'm going to get started here. And you know, these here almost made my list. They're all ones I've listened to a ton over the course of my life. But this one here, I put at number 10. It's White Zombie, La Sexorcisto, Devil Music Volume 1. And when this came out, I bought it on cassette and played it on an endless loop over and over and over. And I had a bunch of friends that were playing it. And we just played this to death. And then I kind of gave up on it for a while and played it every once in a while. And then I got married to my first wife, and she was really into it. So I listened to it a whole bunch again. And I've never really stopped listening to it. So I figured this is about number 10 for me. White Zombie. What a great album. And it was so unique when it came out. Nothing really sounded like this. It's still very unique, and it's by far my favorite thing Rob Zombie's ever done. You know, it's got the big hits Thunder Kiss 65 on it. And what else? With Black Sunshine, which had Iggy Pop doing a spoken word part, which is really cool. But I think this is number 10 for me. So at number 9. Now, there's a reason this is only at number 9 and not higher. This would be the Elephant Riders from Clutch. This is probably my most listened to Clutch album because it was the first one I ever heard. This one and Pure Rock Fury I heard at the same time. But I've had this on vinyl, and I had it on cassette at one point, and I also have it on CD. So I've heard it a lot, and this is probably my most listened to Clutch album, but I didn't get into Clutch until the late 90s. So it's, even though they're my favorite band and I listen to them constantly, my top Clutch album only made it to number 9. But it's just such an excellent record. Very unique. The lyrics are just amazing on this. Stuff like Muchas Veces, where he sings part in Spanish. And it's got the really crazy long story that I love. Wishbone, which he talks about Thanksgiving and St. Patrick's Day. Who else does that in a song? Got the Dragonfly and an instrumental called Cracker Jacks, almost like a jazz influence thing with some horns. Really great record. One of my favorite records ever. At number 8, and this one I discovered in the mid-80s, and me and my friend Josh played it and played it and played it and played it, and it's still probably my second favorite album by this band. This is Inside the Electric Circus from Wasp. When I got into Wasp, this was my favorite, and it's just, I played it to death on cassette, and now when I got on vinyl, I played it, and I've just been listening to it since the 80s, and this is number 8 for me. Amazing record. Still one of my top 2. I don't know, there's 3 Wasp records that are right there. My favorite, the self-titled debut. This one, and this has got like Sweet Cheetah, the deep cuts like Sweet Cheetah, and I'm Alive, and Restless Gypsy, and oh man, it's just so good. The Rock Rolls On, the King of Sodom and Gomorrah. What a great album. And then also Headless Children. Those 3 Wasp albums are very, very close for me for my favorite, but this is the one I've listened to the most, just barely over those 2. Okay, number 6. Got Dangerous Toys self-titled debut, and me and my friend Jody Jonas, we listened to this so much when it first came out. We'd be drinking and just play it and sing along with every word and play it again and play it again. And, you know, it just, one of those records I've never stopped listening to since it was released in 1989. my favorite record of 1989, one of my top 5 debuts ever. Got Teasing, Pleasing, and Scared. The song Scared, which is kind of about Alice Cooper, actually did pretty good on MTV. It was #1 on their request line, whatever it was, Dial MTV, I think it was called. I think one day it was #1, which is really cool. We were kind of freaking out over that. But the deep cuts on this are great. You know, That Dog, and Here Comes Trouble, and Bones in the Gutter. But great album. My #6 most listened to record of my life. And #5. Now, I've listened to this band, and there's one more there's up there. And this is really hard for me to figure out the most listened to record by Kiss, but I think it's got to be Alive 2. And it's mainly just the studio side, Alive, you know, the fourth side of this. I listened to so much. My friend had it on an 8-track, and it would play a couple songs in there, and we'd listen to it every time, you know, at lunch for school, after school. So we were listening to Larger Than Life and Rocket Ride, and, you know, it was part of Rockin' USA, but All American Man's on there. And I did listen to the live part a lot too, but mainly that studio side, my most listened to thing by Kiss ever. Just amazing. It's my #5 most listened to record of my life. And #4, and this is from 1990. There's 2 of them from 1990 on this list. That's crazy. Sweet F.A., Stick to Your Guns. I've been obsessed with this record since it came out. I've listened to it at least 1,000 times in my life. No lie. Just, you know, partying with my friends, you know, and I've never stopped listening to it. It's just so good. The best hair metal, sleaze metal, glam metal, whatever you want to call it, record of all time, in my opinion. I love it. Every song is great. Starting with Prince of the City with that killer drum intro, the drums, then that guitar kicks in. Nothing for Nothing, so catchy to follow it. You got the epic Stick to Your Guns song, you know, the great ballad Heart of Gold, just an amazing album. Whiskey River, Breaking the Law. Love this album so much. My #4 most listened to record of my life. And #3, and this is a tie, and the reason it's a tie is because I usually listen to both of these records back to back. And I've listened to these records since I was a little kid, and we had them on vinyl and on 8-track since 1976 and 7 when they came out. And it's my mom's favorite too, so she would play them constantly while we're driving in the car, and then we'd hear them at home, and I have never stopped listening to them. So this is my #4. It's the 2 Burton Cummings solo albums, the first solo album, and then My Own Way to Rock by Burton Cummings. I really couldn't pick one because when I listen to them, I usually listen to them back to back. And this one here is so good. It has the kind of hit he had, Stand Tall is on here. I'm Scared was another semi-hit. But Birch Magic is my favorite song on here. Sugar Time Flashback Joys is awesome. There's a few cover songs that are really good, like Nothing Rhymed, the Gilbert O'Sullivan song. That's Right, the Ray Charles song. Nikki Hokey, which is an old song. You ain't seen nothing yet, like a lounge version of that the BTO song. Such a great album. I love this one. And then I might like this one even better. My Own Way to Rock. It's just a little more rockin', a little less with the covers, but I mean, it's just so good. His voice is he's my favorite singer ever, probably. And, you know, starts with Never Had a Lady Before, Come On By, which was written by Bob Seger. It sounds like a Bob Seger song. Charlemagne's on here, the great ballad Timeless Love, and A Song for Him, which is awesome. These 2 are my #4. And at #3, the other one from 1990, Allison Chain's Facelift. I've been obsessed with this since before it came out, when I just saw the video for We Die Young. And this is my most played album of the 90s easily. Well, Sweet F.A. and this are neck and neck. And this is just so good. My favorite grunge album ever. One of my top 3 debut albums of all time, if not #1. I absolutely love Facelift. I mean, Dirt's great too. But starting with We Die Young, Man in a Box, Sea of Sorrow, Right in a Row. Then it's got the amazing, you know, Love, Hate, Love, and Sunshine. It Ain't Like That. Just an amazing record. My #3 most listened to record of my life. At #2, and this one is from, I think, 1983. I'm not positive. Might be 84. I think 83. But I was obsessed with this record when it came out. They became my favorite band for a couple of years. I grew up, the Beatles were my favorite band when I was a kid. Then this band became my favorite for a while. And it was ZZ Top, and this is Eliminator, my #2 most listened to record in my life. I've listened to this so much on cassette and on vinyl. It's just ridiculous how much I've heard this album. And it's not my favorite ZZ Top. It was at the time, and it's still in my top 4, 5. Because the first 4 ZZ Tops are my favorite, along with this. Kind of tied, all those kind of tied for number 1. But this is just so good. It's got a little bit of synth in it, but it's not like the wimpy synth. It's the kind of heavier sounding synth. It's got the big hits, Give Me All Your Love, and Got Me Under Pressure's on here, Sharp Dressed Man, Legs, TV Dinners. I love that song. I love the deep cuts like Bad Girl and I Got the Six and Dirty Dog. Thug, I love Thug. This is just such an amazing record. Second most listened to record in my life, which leaves the first record I ever gravitated to in my life, and not my favorite, well, maybe my favorite record of all time. It's right up there in our top 5. This is Abbey Road from the Beatles, my most listened to record in my life. Easily. I listened to it so much when I was a little kid. I've never stopped listening to it. And even though this and the White Album, I say the White Album's my favorite, this was right there. They're neck and neck. But this one I've listened to more because I was into it earlier in my life. Started off listening to this. I've never stopped. Everyone knows this album. It's amazing. So there we go. That's the kind of the 20 most listened to records of my life. If you count those 9 up there too, those are all right in there as well. And whoever did this thread, I would like to thank you. I don't know who you are, but thank you. And I will see you all next time. Have a great day.